Hi dear students, I am Vibhas. Welcome to Physics Legends, the place where physics made easy. Dear students, in this video you are going to learn very interesting chapter, and this chapter is going to be very important for you this year because this chapter contains 8 marks in your annual question paper. Right. So the weightage of this chapter is 8 marks, so that in this 8 mark you are going to get 5 marks in the derivation part or 5 mark in the numerical part. So any of the question will be asked, whether it may be derivation or it may be numerical one question will be there, and for 2 mark one question will be there, and for 1 mark one question will be there. So before going to this chapter, I will show you one exciting example for you. So what I will do, I will take a comb and I will take a cotton cloth. So what I will do is, just I will run this comb through the dry hair. So after that otherwise I can rub it against the cotton cloth. So what happens, let me see. You should vigorously rub like this. So, and I will take a pieces of paper and I just touch it to the paper. So the papers are attracting to the comb, right? So why it is happening so? And I will show you another examples. In these experiments, I will take a balloon and again I will take a cotton cloth. So what I will do is, I will rub it with cloth. So then let's see what happens. So you have to rub it very fast and thoroughly to the cloth. So after by rubbing it many a times, you have to take this balloon nearer to the wall. So let us see what happens. So yes, it is working. The balloon is sticking to the wall. So it means it is acquiring some property. So why it is happening so? I will tell you another example. You might have been seen old cathode ray tube TVs. When you bring your hand nearer to the old TV screen, the hairs in your hand get straightened. And when you are sitting in the plastic chair, when your hand come in contact with the plastic chair, the hairs in your hand get straightened. Why it is happening so? The reason for all such type of question is found in this beautiful chapter, electric charges and fields. Dear students, nowadays we fully depend upon technology. We use mobiles that you are watching this video now. We use laptops. We use bulbs to lighten the dark room. We use fans to blow the air. We use motors to pump the water. For all such type of instruments, we use particular kind of energy. And these instruments work on the basis of that energy. So that energy is none other than electricity. Yes, my dear friends, you are all familiar with this electricity that comes to your home. What is meant by electricity, or what is the definition of this electricity? Electricity is a branch of physics deals with the study of charges only. We study charges not only as electricity, but we study it as different branches. One is electrostatics and another one is current electricity. Then what is electrostatics? First one, electrostatics. So in the word itself is there, see, statics. What is meant by statics? One which is at rest. Electrostatics, electrons under rest, means what is the definition for this electrostatics? It is a branch of physics deals with the study of charges at rest. So what happens when the charges moves? When the charges moves, it leads to the current and it leads to the next branch. We can call it as current electricity. Current electricity. Right. But we will discuss about this current electricity in the third chapter. Then what is the definition of this current electricity? It is a branch of physics deals with the study of charges in motion. So that is a different story. Electricity has its own history, because electricity is not only developed from a single scientist. It is due to because of the contribution of so many scientists among the world. Right from the beginning of Thales of Miletus in 600 BC He has discovered that when an amber is rubbed with a fur, it acquires the property of attracting lighter objects like dust, lint and light feathers, etc. After his discovery, William Gilbert, who lived in between 1544 to 1603, he made a systematic study on the phenomenon discovered by Thales of Miletus. He says that many other substances also behaved in the same manner when they rubbed suitably. He called the entire process as electrification. For the first time, he introduced the word electricity. Electricity. And you are all familiar with this electricity that comes to your home, and this electricity is derived from the Greek word electron. Its spelling is like this. Usually we will write in the spelling of electron, in the place of K we will write C, but this is a Greek word, so that we will write K. What is meant by electron? Electron means amber. What is amber then? Amber is a fossilized resin found near seashore. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಮರವನ್ನು ನೀವು ನೋಡಿ, ಆ ಮರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಮರದ ಕೊಂಬೆ ಮುರಿದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಸಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಸಾಲಿಡಿಫೈಡ್. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಆ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬಂದು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆ ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಗಮ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಟೀರಿಯಲ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋದಂತೆ ಆ ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅದರೊಳಗಡೆ ಮುಚ್ಚೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬಯಾಲಜಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಿಸರ್ವೇಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಆಂಬರ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಟ್ರೀಸ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ amber, this is an experiment done by using amber. So the amber is nothing but electron. So the experiment related to and the subject related to the amber is called as electricity by the word electron. We are talking about charges. Where we find these charges? We find these charges in an atom. We know that every matter is made up of atoms. In fact, atom is a combination of molecules, and molecules are the combination of atoms. So let us take the structure of atom. The charge is present inside the atom. So this is the structure of atom, right? So in this atom we have positively charged nucleus at the center, right? And this nucleus contains protons and neutrons, right? There are protons and neutrons will be there in the nucleus. Together they are called as nucleons. And negatively charged electrons are revolving in different orbits around the nucleus. They are negatively charged, right? They are negatively charged. I told you this nucleus is positively charged. Why? Because proton is positive in nature, neutron is neutral in nature, which means 0. And when positive plus 0, it will become positive only. So therefore nucleus possesses positivity. And electron is negative in nature. So that we can write proton is positive in nature, neutron is 0, which means neutral in nature, and electron is negative in nature. So why we call this proton as positive? Why we call this electron as negative charge? This is due to because it is actually named by the American scientist and politician Benjamin Franklin. For this purpose, Benjamin Franklin photo is printed in American $100 currency note. So but in India we have Gandhi photo in every notes. But don't worry about notes, you just take the notes that I am telling you. So here in this, why we call it as positive only, why we call it as negative only, why cannot we call it in different names? So Benjamin Franklin named this because positivity means it is entirely different to negativity. They are opposite in nature, right? For example, ನೋಡಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ತುಂಬ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ತುಂಬ ಏನಾದರೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನು ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಗುಣ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅಂಥ ನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಕೊಡುವಂಥ ಗುಣವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೆದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅಂಥ ನಾವು ಗುಣವನ್ನು ನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಜನರಲಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಪ್ರೋಟಾನಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ನೇಚರ್ ಇದೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್. ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ನೇಚರ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಟು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್, ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಮತ್ತು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಇದರ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವಿಟಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ಇದರ ನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂತಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಬರಿಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವಿಟಿನ ನಾವು ಹೇಳೋದಾದರೆ ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ದ positivity nature as 1.6 plus 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. What is coulomb? Coulomb is the SI unit of this charge, right? I will tell you about this in the next concept. So what is the charge of this electron? Means ಎಷ್ಟು ನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ಈ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಗೆ ಅಂದರೆ minus 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, right? They possess charge, right? Positivity and negativity. Neutron is neutral in nature, so which means 0. Does these charges possess mass? Yes, these charges having mass. Why? Because matter is made up of atoms. Matter is having a mass. So matters are made up of atoms, and atoms contains these particles, protons, neutrons and electrons. They are all having mass. That's why this atom is having the mass. So every matter is having mass. So what is the masses of these particles? For mass of the proton is 1.673 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. Mass of the neutron, that is 1.675 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg, slightly greater than proton. So then what is the mass of electron? That is very much less than proton and neutron. That is 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. Right. So these are all the masses of these three particles. Actually, the proton, which is made up of elementary particles. So proton, neutron and electron are considered as subatomic particles. But these subatomic particles, ಅಟಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಸಬ್ ಅಟಾಮಿಕ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ ಯಾವುದರಿಂದ ಮಾಡಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಿದೆ? ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ವಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಗ್ಲೂವಾನ್ಸ್. 3 ಕ್ವಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು 3 ಗ್ಲೂವಾನ್ಸಿಂದ ಮಾಡಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದು? ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್. ಸೊ ದೆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಾನ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಫ್? Neutron is also made up of quarks and gluons, right? Then how electron is made up of? Electron is not made up of any other elementary particles. Electron is electron itself. And one thing I wanted to tell you, these atoms are the bodies which are containing these atoms. They can be charged. When they are charged, this we can call it as the innermost orbit. This we can call it as the outermost orbit. In the innermost orbit also we are having electrons. In the outermost orbit also we are having electrons. See, the distance between these outermost orbit electrons to the nucleus is very large. But to the innermost orbit electron to the nucleus is very less. Which means this electron present in the innermost orbit is tightly bound to the nucleus, and this electron which is present in the outermost orbit is very loosely bound to the nucleus. So I will ask you this electron, so call this electron as electron 1, this as electron 2, this as electron 3, this as electron 4. I will call this electron 1, electron 1, will you come outside? It will say no, I can't come. Why? Because my bonding with the nucleus is very strong, so I cannot come anta helutte. Right, ಹಾಗಾದರೆ I will call this electron 4, will you come outside? So it will say yes, I can come. Why? Because my bond with the nucleus is weak and I am very far away from the nucleus. If you give some amount of energy to me, I can come with you, right? So these electrons which are detached by giving some energy. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಸಾಕು, ಅವು ಈ ಔಟರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಿಂದ ಡಿಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಡಿಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತಂಥ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಗಳು ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಜಂಪ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಒನ್ ಅಟಮ್ ಟು ದಿ ಅನದರ್ ಆಟಮ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಾಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಡಿಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಡ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಫ್ರೀ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಆರ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನ ನೀವು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೊ ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಸರ್ ನಾವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ? ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ ಮೋರ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಟು remove proton from the nucleus. After that, I am telling you about charging a body, right? If you give some amount of energy, the electrons are detached from the atom, which means we can charge the body, right? Because when the electrons leaves the body, it will become positively charged. When the body which gains electron, it becomes a negatively charged body, right? How I will show you now. Let us consider a body, two bodies, right? This is body A, and I will consider another body B. This is body B. This body contains 100 protons, means positive charges, 100 electrons. This body also contains 100 protons and 100 electrons. So I just rub this body A with this body B. What happens? Due to the friction, transfer of electrons takes from body A to the body B. Why not from B to A? It is also possible, right? But I am considering from A, right? Here what happens? If I rub this, 10 electrons leave this body A and comes to the body B, right? What happens here? Total number of electrons becomes 110 electrons. So 10 electrons becomes extra. So this body becomes negatively charged body. And this body A is losing 10 electrons and the total number of electrons becomes 90 and the total number of protons becomes 100. So more number of charges are positive. So therefore this is positively charged. Right. So like that we can charge the body. So body which is having less number of electrons is considered as positively charged body. Body which is having more number of charges, we can call it as negatively charged body. If we consider two identical bodies, right? For example, body A and B. So they look same in size, right? Even though if they are same in size, one is positively charged, another one is negatively charged. They look same, double acting, right? A matte B, but their nature of charge is different, positive and negative. But even though they looks identical, their masses are different. So idukke bere mass irutte, so ee body ge bere mass irutte. Positive body ya mass yavaglu negative body ya mass ginta ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇದರದು, right? So this is what we have discussed is the modern concept of matter, how the charges behave inside the matter, how the charges behave inside the atom we have discussed now. So thereafterwards we are telling about positive charge and negative charge. How to know that we have two different types of charges? ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಎರಡು ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ಗಳು ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಕ್ಲಾರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ಅಂತಂದರೆ by doing one simple experiment. I will just show you this experiment on the board only. I will take glass rods, two glass rods, and I will rub these glass rods with the silk cloth ಜೊತೆ ಇವೆರಡು ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ರಾಡ್ಸನ್ನು ರಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ರಬ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಈ ಎರಡು ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ರಾಡ್ಸನ್ನು using silk thread I will suspend like this. When they are brought close to each other, they started repelling each other. They started repelling each other, which means this glass rod is acquiring some property, right? In another case, I will take two ebonite rods, means they are plastic rods, right? And these two rods are rubbed with fur. ಫರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಲ್ಲ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನಾನು. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ವೂಲ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ, ಆ ವೂಲ್ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನು ರಬ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಗೇನ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಥ್ರೆಡ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಸಹಾಯದಿಂದ ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನು ಸಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಹೀಗೆ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್, ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ದೀಸ್ ಟೂ ರಾಡ್ಸ್ ರಿಪೆಲ್ ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್. ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ these two rods are acquiring some particular kind of property. What I will do in the third case, I will take one glass rod from this. I will take one ebonite rod from this. What happens? I will take one glass rod. I will take one ebonite rod. So again I will suspend them with the silk threads. So what happens? These two are attracting each other. Right, they started attracting each other. This is glass rod and this is ebonite rod, right? Why this is due to? Because when I rub this glass rod with the silk, it acquires one kind of charge. When I rub this ebonite rod with fur, it acquires one particular kind of charge. So when these two different rods that they are rubbed with different materials, when they brought close to each other, they are started attracting each other, which means what? One kind of charge is produced on glass rod and another kind of charge is produced on ebonite rod. So Benjamin Franklin named the charge on glass rod and fur, glass rod and fur, as positive charge, and he named the charge on ebonite rod and silk as negative charge. Right. So this concludes that like charges repel each other and unlike charges are attracted each other. So we know that like charges repel each other, unlike charges attract each other. To know this, we did an experiment. We rubbed glass rod with silk, we rubbed ebonite rod with fur. Right. During this process, glass rod and ebonite rods are they are acquiring some properties. Right. So this process of acquiring some property, we can call it as electrification. So then what is meant by electrification? Electrification. Electrification, it is a process of making a body to lose electrons or gain electrons. This we can call it as electrification. What is the example for this electrification? Let us consider two bodies, body A and the body B. I am taking body A over the body B because I am rubbing a body A with the body B. So when I rub the body A with the body B, what happens? Due to the friction between these two bodies, the transfer of electrons takes place from body A to the body B. Suppose let us consider here we have 10 positive charges and 10 negative charges. Here also we have 10 positive charges and 10 negative charges. After when I rubbing body A with body B, let us consider 2 electrons are transferred to this body B, which means here 8 negative charges remained. So here negative charges become 12. So the positive charges become more in this body, which means the body which loses the electron, it becomes positively charged body. Why? Because the positive charges becomes more here and negative charges become less. So the body which gets the electron, which becomes more in negative charges and less in positive charges, this body becomes negatively charged body. So this is nothing but electrification. So to charge a body, whether positive or negative, either the body should have excess of electron or less number of electrons. So the example for electrification is very simple. When the comb is run through your dry hair or when it is rubbed against the cotton cloth or woolen cloth, the comb acquires the property, right? Means the comb is charged, right? We can call it as a charged body, right? It is in small extent, but we can see this in nature in the big extent also. So you might have been heard, so you must and you should have been heard this, that is lightning. Then what is lightning? Lightning is the heavy electric discharge between clouds and clouds, or clouds and the earth. For example, let us consider clouds, right? So there is the discharge between charges between these two clouds. The charges will transfer from one cloud to the another cloud is an example for an electrification in a big extent, right? Or else from cloud to the ground. So the charges are also discharged from clouds to the ground. We can call it as lightning. So during lightning, you are safer inside the house than under a tree. Why? Because if you are under a tree, right? If you are under a tree, what happens? You will provide an easy path for the flow of charges through your body to the ground. So that ground accept all the electrons. If you are inside the home, right? If you are inside the home, what happens? The charges will discharge through the walls of the building or the pipes, etc. So like this, the lightning will happen. So you are safer inside the home than under a tree. So during lightning, we are providing a easy path for the flow of charges through our body to the ground. We will become the conductor. So in the nature, there are some substances which conduct electricity through their body, and some substances are there which do not conduct electricity. We classify the substance based on their conductivity as conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Conductors, and the second one is insulators, and the third one is semiconductors. If you see the name, you can only understand what are conductors. Conductors, in the name itself is that they will conduct, right? These are the substances which allows electric charges to pass through them. The examples for conductors are gold, silver, iron, copper, human body, mercury, etc. So then come to the insulators. So then insulator is opposite to the conductor, which means insulators are the substances which do not allow electric charges to pass through them. So examples for insulators are dry wood, plastic and rubber and glass, etc. We can take an examples for the insulators. Then move to the semiconductors. In the name itself is there, semiconductors, which means these are the substances whose conductivity lies between conductors and insulators. So examples for semiconductors are silicon, germanium, etc. So let us know why the conductors allow the electric charges to pass through them. We have to go through the mechanism of the atom, why it allows electric charges to pass through them. We have to consider an atom which belongs to any material of the conductors. So this is having positively charged nucleus at the center and the electrons which are revolving in different orbits around the nucleus. So I will take the electrons in different orbits. Right. So here you can see that this is the electron which is present in the innermost orbit, which is very close to the nucleus and it is very strongly bound to the nucleus. This is the electron which is at large distance from the nucleus. So this is weakly bound to the nucleus. Right, here you have to observe, we cannot detach this electron which is at innermost easily. We can detach this electron at the outermost orbit very easily by giving some amount of energy, or even for small rise in temperature also, this electron leaves this outermost orbit and it will jump from one atom to the another atom inside the metal. So that we can call this as free electron, or we can call them as charge carriers. In metals, electrons are the charge carriers, but in electrolytes, both negative ions and positive ions are the charge carriers. Then let us move to the insulators. Why the insulators will not allow electric charges to pass through them? Because in the insulators, the atoms of the insulators contains positive charge and also the electrons at different orbits, right, like this. All the electrons which are strongly bound to the nucleus, so they are not free to move inside the insulators. So insulators, they do not conduct any charges through them. So thereafterwards, if you apply some charges to the insulators, what happens? For example, if I take negative charges, if I put negative charges on the insulators, they will remain at the same place. Why? Because this is an insulators, it will not allow any electric charges to pass through them. So what happens if I put these charges, array of charges on the conductor? If I put this charge on the conductors, they will arrange in a different positions like this. This is due to because they are all same charges and there will be a force of repulsion between them. So therefore they will accumulate on the surface of the conductor at different position. The very most important thing is electric charge. what is electric charge? Electric charge, it is the property possessed by the material object by virtue of its electrical effects and other related effects are observed. When the comb is brought nearer to the pieces of paper started attracting to the comb. This is a effect of attraction. So like that also we can observe effect of repulsion also. So these are all the electrical effects that we observe, right? So that we can call it as electric charge is responsible for this kind of attraction or repulsion effects, right? So thereafterwards these electric charges are also having some properties also, right? So starting from that, I will tell you first property, like charges repel each other. So that I have showed you in the experiment. A glass rod is rubbed with the silk and the ebonite rod is rubbed with the fur. They acquire one particular kind of charge. So in that we find that there are two kinds of charges, that is positive and negative. So in the same experiment we know that when the like charges brought close to each other, they repel each other. When unlike charges brought close to each other, they will attract each other. So here we have to write second point, unlike charges attract each other. And third point, a charged body always attract uncharged body, right? So that you have already seen. For example, if you take the comb as an example, if it is charged, when it is brought nearer to some lighter objects, so the lighter objects get attracted towards the comb. So which means a comb is charged and the papers are uncharged, so they can attract it towards the comb. So that we can write charged body attracts uncharged bodies. Charged bodies attracts uncharged bodies. So then we can observe that when we put some charges to a conductor, what happens? These charges are accumulate or they can reside on the surface of the conductor, which means charges always reside on the surface of the conductor. That is also one point. So charges always accumulate on the sharp edges of a conductor. Charges always resides on the surface of the conductor. For example, if I take any material, if I put some charge into it, so what happens? The charges are distributed over the surface like this. And also the charges are always resides on the outer edge, so like this. On these edges the charges always want to reside. So thereafterwards we will discuss about the basic properties of these charges, which are charge is conserved. So this is also one of the property of charges. What is meant by conservation of charge? We know that the conservation of energy. Conservation of energy says that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be transferred from one form to the another form. But here conservation of charge is not like that. Conservation of energy, you cannot create energy, you cannot destroy energy, but it can be converted from one form to another. But here in this case, charge is conserved, which means you can create charge, but you cannot destroy the charge. How? I will tell you. For example, if a gamma ray enters the earth under suitable condition, it is converted into proton and electron. So we can create a charge, but we cannot destroy the charge. I will tell you another example. When neutron is decayed into proton and electron, the charge of the neutron is 0, we know that, right? And the charge of proton is positive and the charge of electron is negative. So the total net charge after decaying is 0. Before the decay also it is 0. So the charge is conserved in beginning and at the ending also. So to know this in a better way, I will show you another example. Suppose consider a system. I will have a system here. So in this system, I am having two bodies. body A and the body B. This is body A and this is body B. Let us consider it is having 10 electrons. It is also having 10 electrons here. What happens if 2 electrons moves from the body A to B, then the total number of electrons be here, it becomes 12 electrons finally. So here the total number of electrons become 8 electrons. So before transferring electrons from body A to B, the total number of electrons in the system is 10 plus 10, 20. After transferring also, the electron becomes 8 plus 12, it will become 20. So which means the body may become imbalanced within the system, but the total number of electrons are same. So this is a system which is isolated from the surrounding. So in this case only you can observe the charges are conserved. So the charge is conserved, or conservation of charge. What does it tells us? In an isolated system, the charge is always remains constant. The charge is quantized. What is meant by quantization of charge? You know that what is quantity means pramana anta kariteve. So we have to group charges and we have to multiply their values. So for example, I will tell you one thing. Let us consider 5 spheres with their mass 5 kg, each with a mass 5 kg. So what is the total mass of these spheres? 5 spheres. What you have to calculate? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you will take these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 into their weight, because all of them they are having same weight. What you will do, you will multiply it with 5 kg. So what you will get? So that you will get 25 kg. So that you have taken these spheres as integral values. So this is the values of this total number of spheres. So like that also, when you are calculating the total amount of charge in a system, similarly we can calculate in this way. So that I will show you. Suppose in a body, suppose this is a body, right? In this body I have some electrons, means more electrons. Suppose consider 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 electrons we have, right? Which means this body is also having positive charges, but 10 negative charges are in excess, which means this is negatively charged body. Negatively charged body. So that we can calculate how many number of electrons are there. 10 electrons are there. The charge of each electron is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. Right. So every electron is having the same charge. So total number of charges are 10 into their value is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. So the total amount of charge is represented by small letter q or either capital letter Q. So now onwards we use Q for the amount of charge. So generally I can write this as Q is equals to, this is the number of electrons. So I have taken generally 10 electrons, but in a substance there might be so many number of electrons, so that I will take this number as integer n and the charge of the electron is Ne. So I should take this as plus or minus Ne. Why plus or minus Ne? For example, let us consider two bodies. If we are having two bodies, here A and B, suppose two electrons are transferred from body A to body B, you have to calculate that two electrons are transferred from here to here, which means this loses 2 electrons and it gains 2 electrons. When it is losses, you have to take it as plus. When it is gained, you have to take it as minus. So therefore, we can write n is equals to plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2 and plus or minus 3 and so on up to n. Right. So this is nothing but the quantization of charge. The quantization of charge is experimentally demonstrated by Millikan in 1912. Actually, the values of charges also experimentally calculated by Millikan. Then the next point is the charges are additive. Charges are additive in nature. Charges are additive. What is meant by charges are additive? The total charge of system of point charges is the algebraic sum of all the charges in the system. Which means, for example, let us consider if the system contains Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 up to n number of charges, then the total number of charge in the system is calculated as Q is equals to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 plus Q4 up to Qn. Right. To know this in a better way, let us consider a system and it is having a point charges Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 and Q5. So to calculate the total amount of charge in the system, we have to add these charges Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5. So how can we add this? So let us take Q is equals to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 plus Q4 plus Q5. Suppose you can give the values for this charge also. So that is you can give 1. So for this charge number 2 you can give 3. For this charge you can give 4. And for this charge you can give minus 6. And for this charge you can give plus 7. So what it will give? So Q is equals to, we can consider this as 1 coulomb, 3 coulomb and 4 coulomb, 6 coulomb and 7 coulomb. So 1 plus, so charge number 1 and charge number 2, that is 3 coulomb, plus charge number 3 4 coulomb, plus charge number 5 is minus 6 coulomb. So charge number 5 is 7 coulomb. Right. So finally what we will get? Q is equals to 1 plus 3 plus 4, we will get 8. 8 minus 6 2. 2 plus 7 9. So totally 9 coulomb charge is present in this system, which means to calculate the total number of charge, total amount of charge in a system, we have to add all the number of charge, which means we have to add all the point charge in the system so that the charge is additive. And the next property of electric charge is the magnitude of the electric charge does not change even when the charges moves, which means charge is having the nature of its negative, which means let us consider electron. If it is electron's charge is 1.6 minus 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. Right, it is the magnitude of this charge. We can say that it is a nature of this charge, nature of value of this charge. So what happens when this charge moves? Its magnitude does not change, which means this value doesn't change even it moves with the velocity v. If it moves with any velocity also, this magnitude never be changed. And also when this charges moves, during its motion it produces magnetic field. Right, it produces magnetic field along with what? Along with electric field. So these are all the properties of electric charges. We are using a word charging of a body. So that how can we charge a body? We can charge a body by different methods. So that in the beginning of this video you have seen that I used a comb and I used a balloon. That is a charging of a body. So how can we charge a body? Through different methods. There are 3 methods of charging a body. They are, one is frictional method, and the second one is a conduction method, and we can go through them, and the last one is induction method. What is meant by friction method? Through this friction method we can charge insulators, but through this conduction and induction we can only charge conductors. Unfortunately we cannot charge insulators through these 2 methods. So then let us know how can we charge our bodies using friction method. Then how can we charge insulators by friction method? So in the beginning of this video I showed you some examples. So in that examples I have taken comb and cloth, I rubbed comb against the cloth so that the comb is get charged. Which means here what we are going to do, we have to rub a body. For example, let us take two bodies, a body A and body B. So this is body A and this is body B. When I rub this body A with body B, what happens? Due to the friction between these two bodies, transfer of charges or electrons will taking place from A to body B. So then what happens? This body loses the electrons. For example, say it loses some 10 electrons. It gains 10 electrons. It loses 10 electrons. It gains 10 electrons. Which means this body is positively charged because it loses electrons. So the number of positive charges become more. So here it gets more electrons, which means this is negatively charged. By friction, we can charge two bodies at the same time by rubbing one against another. What is conduction method? It is the process of charging a conductor by placing a charged body in contact with it. To explain this, I will take an example. Let us consider two beakers of same size. So I will consider beakers like this. Right. Consider a water is filled in this beaker. It is having some amount of water up to this level. What I will do is, I will connect these two beakers by using pipe, small pipe. So immediately what happens? The water in this beaker started flowing through this pipe and reached this beaker. So you know that always water flows from higher altitude to the lower altitude. So in the same way, the water started flowing from this beaker to this beaker. So let us consider this beaker as A and this beaker as B. So up to when the water will flows to this beaker. So once the levels are equal, the further flow of water is stopped. So similarly, in this way, let us consider a charged body that is negatively charged. This is a negatively charged body. I will take a conductor and I will keep it in contact with the charged body. This is a conductor and this is a charged body. This is a charged body. So what happens when they are connected? Because this body is negatively charged and has more number of electrons, and these charges are started flowing to this body, means this conductor. So this is distributed with charges like this, which means up to when the charges will move, once the potential become equal in these two bodies, then the further flow of charges will be stopped. I am taken two bodies are of same size, so that's why the charges are distributed equally between them. If you have taken small conductor and you place it in contact with it, so it depends on its size, surface area, so that the charges will accumulate on this surface area. So compared to this charge, it will gains less number of electrons, so the area becomes very less. So this is the conduction method. So now let's move to the induction method. In the induction method, we will charge the conductors without touching to a charged body. How can we charge the conductors then? So let us consider two conductors which are in contact with each other. Alright, they are having both positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative like this. So this one also having positive, negative, positive, negative charges like this. So let us consider this as sphere A and this as sphere B, and these two are placed on the wooden stand. This wooden stand acts as an insulators. Why we use this wooden stand? Because they acts as an insulators and they prevents the charges to flow to the ground. So what I will do is, I will bring a plastic rod which is positively charged nearer to these two spheres. When I bring this positively charged rod nearer to these two spheres, because of this positive nature, all the negative charges in these two spheres are induced towards the charged body. So the charges will come here is negative charges due to, because you know that opposite charges or unlike charges attract each other. So that's the reason these negative charges comes to this end. And what happens to the positive charges? Positive charges and positive charge repel each other. So that's why the positive charges will take the further end position like this. So in the next, what I will do is, I will separate these two bodies with some distance by keeping a charged body at the same place. ಸೊ ಈ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಬಾಡಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಸೊ ಈ ಎರಡು ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡೋಣ. ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ದೆಮ್, ದ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಆರ್ separated like this. So after that, what I will do, I will remove this rod nearer the sphere A. So all the charges will distribute like this. Due to, because they are keeping very near, so these negative charges come to this position and these positive charges will come to this position. Again, if you separate them with a larger distance, what happens? If you separate them with a larger distance, what happens? The charges are distributed throughout the surface of the spheres, due to, because they will repel each other. So here also the charges will arranged in different positions like this. So this is nothing but the charging a body by using induction method. So I am not touching a charged body to these two bodies. We have just brought them in contact and we have separated in the presence of charged body. That's it. So this is nothing but a induction method. Dear students, in this video we have learnt so many concepts related to the electric charges and fields. In the next video, I am going to cover up the other remaining concept regarding the same chapter. If you have any doubt, please comment down. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you will get all the notification when I upload my new videos. Until then, take care. Bye.